Hey there, drone fans. Rick here again from Drone Valley. It is a gorgeous day today in the Northeast. Thought I'd get outside, do a lot of flying, and I want to try and answer a question that I get often on the website and on the YouTube channel about landing mats. A lot of people want to know, how big should they be? What type of material should they be made out of? How expensive are they? Now, I use a landing mat every time I fly, so I thought I'd go out and answer some of these questions for you today. For me, it makes a lot of sense because as I fly in the Northeast an awful lot, we get a lot of different types of weather out here. So the ground is often muddy, wet, dirty, or it could be cold, and snowing. So having a surface that I can land on that's dry and flat is super important, especially with a lot of the smaller drones I fly that have very, small ground clearances. Because if the drone lands and it touches the ground, I'm going to get whatever's on the ground up on the drone. So a landing mat for me is perfect. Some of the criteria I use for picking a landing mat is it's got to be portable, it should be relatively inexpensive, it should be incredibly durable. So I'm going to talk specifically about two landing mats today that I've been using for quite some time and give you some of the features of those landing mats that you may want to consider when you're out there shopping for landing mats. Now, again, if you're a hand catcher, you're not going to have any interest in this whatsoever because it's going to be specifically for people that take off and land from the ground. But there's a lot of good information in here, and I hope you find value in it. So stay tuned and we'll get into it. People often ask me why I use a landing mat. If you look behind me, this is a field near my home, and I love flying here. I fly here an awful lot. You can see the tall grass all around me. There's no way I could land a quad in that grass. And even over here where it's flat, it's hard to see it, but there are little weeds and roots and things sticking up 5 or 6 inches off the ground. And even over here where it's nice and flat and pretty clean, the soil is very loose. So if I land down here with the Mavic or the Phantom, I'm going to kick up a lot of that soil, which is going to get sucked right into the front of the Mavic's ventilation system. And even with the Phantom product, the camera is so close to the bottom of that if I land it in that soil and it sinks down even a little bit, I'm going to get dirt on my camera, which is not a good thing. So the landing mat for me gives me an easy way to sort of level off a surface and make sure all the stuff is below it. I've got a nice clean place to land, and it works well in snow, it works well in wet ground. So for me, it's a perfect solution. Now, when I'm searching for a landing mat, I want to make sure of a couple of things. First off, I'm a cheapskate, so I want it to be reasonably priced. I don't want to spend $80 or $100 on a landing mat. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. I want it to be extremely portable, because when I travel, I try to put as small a kit together as possible to take with me. And the last thing is it's got to be durable. I want it to last for a bunch of years. So I'm going to show you two mats. The one I've got on the ground over there is the larger version of it, and that's pretty big. That's about 43.5 inches across. That's plenty big for any quad you're going to be flying. I use that when I fly my Inspire. It's a little large for the Mavic and the Phantom, so I've got a smaller one I take when I'm flying those two quads, but they're essentially the same, just different sizes. When you open up the package, you get a lot of good stuff. Now, this is a company called PGY that I buy a lot of accessories from, and I've searched across a lot of different landing mat companies and really find these guys to be the best of the bunch, and I'll give you a couple of reasons why in a minute. So if you look inside the package, they give you tie downs. So you've got stakes where you can actually stake it to the ground. So if it's a very windy day, which it isn't too windy today, but if it was really windy, you can see the strap edges over there. You can stake this to the ground to actually make it stay in one place. They give you some reflective stickers that go on there. Those are really nice because if you put those on the outside of this, when you're up in the air, when you're coming down, the landing lights will actually illuminate those stickers. So it makes it really easy to see from far up, especially if you're getting close to dusk. We're almost at sunset now, so it'd be good to have these on there. And then inside there's the landing mat, and they give you a really nice carrying case for it. Now, the landing mat's folded up. It's kind of dangerous when you open it up because it's spring-loaded, so don't open it up close to your chest. I've made that mistake a couple of times and bumped myself in the nose. I actually hit my wife with it one time when I was trying to show her how it opens up. So you want to make sure you hold it away from you. When you hold it away from you, just give it a shake and it snaps open. Now, that action of snapping open is primarily due to the fact that there's spring steel on the outside of this. Now, that spring steel is important for a couple of reasons. Number one, it holds the material completely open, which is great because it gives me the maximum landing area. A lot of the mats that don't have anything in the outside as a frame, you won't get the full width of it, so it tends to curl up over time if you roll it up and fold it up. So this one is always fully expanded. The second thing it does for you is add weight to the landing mat. One of the problems I've got with a lot of the other companies out there is they're very light. And they're easy to port, portability is easy, but if they're light, when you're in a windy condition or when the quad's coming down, it's going to bounce that mat across the ground. You're going to have to chase the mat to land. This one, because of the steel on there, you just drop it and it stays in place. It's going to land there. Now, on a day where it's windier, on the smaller one, I might actually stake it down with a couple of stakes, but more often than not, it's going to stay where you put it. Now, the other thing I like about these PGY mats, they're double-sided. So I've got the orange side down and I've got a darker side here. The orange side is great if I'm in a dark floor like this where I've got dirt and I've got, you know, weeds and such, it's easy to see it from above. But if you're on a beach, that almost becomes invisible. So if you pick an orange mat and you're going to go to some place with a very light ground like a beach would be, you're going to have a hard time seeing that. So I like the fact that they've got a darker side as well. So when I'm on the beach, I put this down. When I'm out in the field like this, I'll use the orange side. It makes it really easy to see. In addition to that, it's really easy to put this thing away. So when I'm done for the day, I can put everything back into the package and take it with me. So like I said before, the durability of this, it's really high tensile nylon, so you're not going to scratch this. I've had this one for quite a long time, and I've just gotten this one recently since I got the Mavic. Maybe I've had this 6 months, that one a year and a half, something like that. But you can see that it's clean. I just take it home, I wipe it down with a damp cloth, and it's ready to go. So very nice, very easy to use, and very portable. So for my money, the PG Tech for me, because of all the things I've mentioned, is really the one that I go with. And again, I don't like to endorse companies just out of the gate. I really like to try them an awful lot. I've used these for a long time, and I'm constantly buying new models of landing mats to try them to see if they're better, because I'm always looking for the next best thing. And yet, today, these are still my favorite mats, and I take them with me pretty much every time I fly. Now, size-wise, that's the larger one. I think that's 43.5 inches across. This one's 29.5 inches across. So side by side, this one will do most of what you need. It'll take care of your Mavic. It'll take care of your Phantom products. They land on there pretty well. And with the Mavic, even though I've got the landing mat, I still use these extension feet. I've talked about these in other clips that I've done. These extension feet give you a little bit of extra distance between the ground and the camera and the bottom. But you can see that even if it lands on the mat, because of the weight of it, it pushes the mat down. So I like to have the legs on there to just keep it up, because if the ground's wet, it's nylon, it's going to transfer that wetness through the mat. But by having those legs on there, I'm actually extending it up further beyond that. And this one's actually big enough to put the Phantom on as well. So like I said, I can land both the Mavic and the Phantom on this particular mat. That one I use for the Inspire because it's a larger quad. You could probably land it on here if you're really good as a pilot, but I like to have a little bit extra space when I'm taking the Inspire out. So that's pretty much it for the mats. And again, if you have questions on this, just drop them below and I'll try to do my best to answer them. One more thing I wanted to show you was how to fold up the mat. A lot of people have asked me, gee, I got them open, but they're such a pain in the neck to get back in the bag. How do you do it? It's pretty straightforward. You have to actually twist it in on itself. So what I do is grab it over and grab it under and just twist it like this. And when I'm closing it up, you'll see that it'll go right back into that circular shape. Pretty straightforward. You take the bag, slides right back inside the bag. But again, be careful because this is spring metal. You don't want to hold it loosely because if it springs open, that metal comes up and clocks you. You're gonna remember that the next time. So I tend to hold it with one hand, slide it in the bag with the other. Once I get this in the bag, then all the accessories can go in there. But in essence, what'd that take me? 15 seconds to fold that up, and you're ready to go for the day. So I can throw this in my bag with me, or I can throw it in the top of my hard case, and it doesn't take up much room at all, and it's collapsible. So it's really a good solution. Last thing I wanted to do was show you just how stable the mat is when it's on the ground. That mat's just sitting there free. It's not staked to the ground or anything else. The wind has picked up a little bit since I started doing the clip, but I'm going to actually elevate the Mavic a couple of feet off of the mat, blow a lot of air around it, and you'll see that it won't move an inch from where it's sitting right now. So let me put the Mavic up. All right, so I got the Mavic up a couple of feet above it, and I'll bring it down even closer. You can see the material's buffeting there, but that mat is not moving an inch. Now, if I'm on a beach or something where there's a lot of wind, or maybe it's, you know, a little more uneven, I may actually stake it down. But in this case, it's sitting right on top of the ground. And that's important to me because when I travel for the day to a location and I want to film, I really just want to take the mat out, open it up, throw it on the ground, and start flying. I don't want to have to spend a lot of time setting it up and, you know, tagging it down with stakes and things like that. And some of the less expensive mats, you may save a couple of bucks on them, but they come with stakes and you got to spend a few minutes staking them and stretching them out and everything else. What I like so much about the PG Tech is that they're ready to go. You pop them out of the bag, hold them away from you, let them open up and drop them, and you're good to go. All right, let me land it. As I get closer, you'll see that it's going to land almost exactly where it took off, and no impact whatsoever to the mat. And that mat stays nice and flat, and it stays taut, which is all I care about. Okay, same test with the Phantom 4. It's going to kick up a lot more wind than the Mavic did, but I just want to make sure you guys know that I'm not trying to rig the test in any way. So let me fire up the Phantom 4. Lift it off the ground a little bit. And again, it's blowing a lot more wind than it was before. You can see the mat is vibrating, and part of the advantage of that nylon is that it lets the air pass through it, so it's not as, I guess, as airborne as some of the stuff that's a little bit thicker or maybe a little less porous. But I'm all around that thing, and if I move it around, move it back, either side, no big deal. It's staying right where it is, so when I want to come home, just bring it in, bring it over, bring it down. And again, if I hover close to it, you can see that it's not impacting it at all, which is exactly what I want in the mat. So let me land it. So for my money, hands down the best mat on the market. So that's it for this clip. I did get a lot of flying in today, and any day I can put a quad up for an afternoon is a wonderful day for me. Hopefully you're finding value in these clips. I enjoy doing them. You guys know how much I love to fly, and if through my experience I can make it safer for you or more fun, it's a rewarding experience for me. It's very gratifying to see you guys dropping the thumbs up and leaving positive comments. I can see our subscriber count is growing. If you feel the need to leave a negative comment or a thumbs down, just explain it so I can tweak the clips to make them better for you next time. I just feel like anything I can do to enhance this community to make it safer and more fun and you guys get a better value out of it, that's all really good stuff. So I'm having fun doing them. I'll continue to do them, as I say every time, as long as you guys are enjoying them. And as I always say, happy flying.